Do you believe in ghosts? Well, I do now. I'm standing here at the field where the infamous Pickett's charge took place in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. On that fateful July day in 1863, from the fields behind me, General Lee sent a large Confederate force that stretched a mile across this road to the Union lines, which are behind this camera. It was an ill-fated charge for General Lee, but prior to that specific attack, the 12th New Jersey, which was on the hill behind the camera, neatly positioned and carefully positioned behind a stone wall, was given the order to go forward because there were Confederate sharpshooters in a barn across that field. There's no longer a barn there because the 12th New Jersey, along with the 1st Delaware, burned it and captured 99 Confederates. In any case, during the entire action across Pickett's charge field prior to the Pickett's charge, the men returned to their lines and fought the rest of the battle for that day. When the battle ended, there was chaos everywhere. Thousands of men lie dead on the field from both sides. What happened next? Well, fast forward to about 10 years ago, to about the year 2000, give or take. And one particular evening, we were driving from town in Gettysburg out to a hotel outside of town to meet some friends. As we were driving through, the car got to this point and there was a very, very low fog across the ground. I got a weird chill about it. I said, man, to the other guys, I said, did you happen to feel this? They said, no, they didn't feel anything. Well, we continued on to the hotel, met our friends, gave them a time to meet us back at the hotel, and back this way we went. Well, we got back to this point again, and lo and behold, I felt that chill one more time. My friend Phil, what he was doing was he pulled the car over and he said, let's get out, let's take a look. So we walked to this point. In the dark of night, on a Friday night, on the weekend of Remembrance Day, which is a weekend in November that commemorates Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address every year, there were thousands of soldiers here and about, but not out here, not at this time. It was probably about 9 o'clock at night. We walked to this point, we looked across the field, and we saw 5 people walking across the field. I remarked to my friends that they can't be there. They're not supposed to be there. This is a government property after dark. No one goes onto the battlefield. They're going to get us all in trouble. That's what I figured anyway. Well, we watched these guys for maybe 5-10 minutes, and they were in a walking motion, but they never moved forward. They just stayed in one particular spot. So we looked, and the second guy, there was one man, another man, and then a group of 3. The first man seemed to have a rifle on his shoulder as he was walking. The second man seemed to be falling down. And I'm looking at this thinking, what's going on here? And then the other 3 that were separated were walking too, but no one was going forward. You couldn't see their legs. They were in a fog about knee high. So we kept watching, and the 3 of us saw the exact same thing. What we saw was the middle man falling down over and over and over again. Why this happened, we don't know, but we all saw it at the same time. So when he fell, we all remarked at the same second, he fell again, he fell again. Well, we went back to the hotel, wide-eyed, a bit scared, and we told everybody that was meeting us there at that time, you're not going to believe what we just saw. And we brought them back here. And about 3 or 4 carloads, maybe 20 people, give or take, and they all stood at this point, and we all looked, and they all saw the same thing. To try to go and figure out what that was all about, well, we really don't know to this day. We think we may have seen some ghosts, maybe not. Maybe it was our minds. I can't tell you what it was, but there's a bit more to the story. Hang in there. The story continues. These are the 2 gentlemen that, with me, were together that specific night during what we think we may have seen. I would like you to listen to the first-hand account of first Phil and then Dave. Phil?
Yeah, we were standing here and what appeared to be movement out in the field. Some say it was the bushes moving, but the thing that was so amazing about it is that we all seen the same bush move at the same time doing the same thing. One of the bushes, or one of the things that appeared to be a human that was falling down. and Rich yelled 12th New Jersey, and it did look like one of the Bushes had stood up and raised its rifle. What that was, I don't know. I can't really say. All I can tell you is what we all seen at the same time, and it was very amazing to me. So,
Dave?
Yeah, it was really neat seeing that. The first thing that I saw of the 5 men that took my eye was there were 3 of them together. I don't know if they were 3 stragglers together, if it was remains of maybe a color guard or something, but they were together and side by side, shoulder to shoulder. And it was obviously like they were walking on some rough terrain. They almost looked like they were tripping or falling down. And the even more amazing thing was when we came back here, we brought some friends, several carloads, about 10 or 15 people or so, and they all saw the same thing too. And when that second trip, I was one of the guys that walked out on the battlefield towards those men. And
Which we weren't supposed to do that night, but we won't tell anybody.
No. No, you're not supposed to be on the battlefield at night, definitely. But we were so intrigued about going out there that to see what was going on, we could never get close to them. I mean, if they were bushes, we would have walked past the bushes. But they always kept a certain distance from us. We could never get up to them, but we could still see them doing the same thing. Going through, it's like a moving loop that was playing over and over. The same guys falling, the same guys marching, but they weren't going forward, and we could never approach them.
So there you have it, 2 accounts, plus what I said. Thanks. The story doesn't actually end on the fields of Pickett's charge. The very next evening, one of the other members, after hearing about what had happened with the 5 men across this field, decided to see for himself. He came out there the following night with his wife and his children, and he came back to me Sunday morning at this particular point where we had a program to commemorate the 12th for the Remembrance Day weekend. And he said to me, "Rich, I saw the 4 men you were talking about." Well, I said, "There wasn't 4, there was 5. He says, "No, I saw 4. There was 1 here, 1 there, 1 there, and a straggler at the very end. 4 men. Well, it turns out that we saw 5, he saw 4. I've been coming here to dedicate a day to the men of the 12th New Jersey for probably 20 years, and I've never noticed what's written on this monument on this side. Basically, during the Battle of Gettysburg, the 12th New Jersey lost 120 men. But at the very bottom, it states that after all was said and done, and the men were on their way to future engagements, whatever they may be, a total of 9 men were missing and were never found, never returned to their ranks. So do the simple math. The 5 we saw on that Friday evening and the 4 they were seen on the following night, a total of 9. How many more people in this town that lost their lives in a horrible way are still trying to get back to their homes, to their families? Well, there's a lot of stories about the ghosts of Gettysburg. This has just been one of them. You can decide for yourself whether or not it's a true story or just fabricated in our minds. But to us, it was very true. This is Rich Mendoza reporting.